introduce yourselves, like starting with the Chief Engineer, Mr. Sameh.
Good morning, gentlemen. I am happy to be part of this great event. I am Chief Engineer Sameh Abd-El-Alim. I am a marine surveyor, and I am working in Constellation Marine Services.
Sure. Captain.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Captain Varun Rawat. I am the Director of Nautical Academics and Simulator at the Maritime Academy, which is a part of Abd-El Ports. Been in the industry for a very long time, more than 3 decades. Been a command of a vessels for more than 8 years. Commanded from ice-class vessels to the world's most largest vessels also. Here in Abu Dhabi ports, generally trying to integrate trainings for different stakeholders and enhancing the crew quality for that matters. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Captain Mohamad Waddah, Sasila. I'm Marine and Logistic Manager for Safeena Subsea. I have around 22 years experience with oil and gas offshore, and have also some experience in port state, flag state, and the training. Today, inshallah, we'll put all my experience with you.
That's for sure. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Cesar Vera, and I'm currently working for Fueltrax as Director for Global Reach and Strategy, which means that when I'm not home in Canada, I'm somewhere in the world, like in this beautiful country, and having the opportunity to share stages with very knowledgeable people like this morning. And I hope that I can be of contribution as well for a good discussion. And 35 years I've been in the oil and gas sector for companies like Schlumberger, Neighbors, GE, Siemens, and for vessel owners for the past time. And now very honored to represent Fueltrax. And I'm really happy to be here and also to be hosted by our partners, Integrated Marine Solutions in the region.
Thank you, gentlemen. Starting with Captain Waddah. Captain Waddah, what are the most immediate and realistic steps offshore operators can take today to reduce their carbon footprint without compromising efficiency?
Yeah. Let's ask first to talk what has happened with, as experienced, what is really, we done this before in ADNOC and other vessels. To do the, first of all, with the efficiency audit, to identify insufficient energy for the machinery what you have. Example, some of the vessel, DP example, when they start the FMA, it was for, to operate, they need 4 generators to be sustain the DP2 system. When we studied that, and we discovered that the 3 generator can be hauled and enough sufficient energy to keep the vessel in safe position. With the approval of the class, and we got it. Now we immediately reduced 25% actually from the 4 generator, now minus 1 generator. Immediately the carbon is dropped. Other things will be, I take it also from other companies, they start to install the speed, variable speed drive for all motors, electrical motors, to give them enough sufficient energy which you don't need the full capacity of the engine. The pump, actually, the motor pump, or whatever motor, they're using electrical motors. Also, the most important here is training for people. The people, we are using the energy, yes? Exactly. And the crew mainly. Example, we need to train them and push them and educate them. Example, when you leave your cabin, switch off the light. Don't keep it. Don't keep the light of the vessel on when it's no need. And the galley, we're using the normal heating plates. Now there's a new induction plates, which is really drop dramatically the energy of the plate, which is using the cooker all day. Sometimes they put it on and they leave it until they do something and come back. The education should be there for these people, effort from master and the company to educate people. Also, if we can sometime, if feasible, to let the power pack, the power pack batteries helping the machinery, if this is available. Also, the AI now, latest AI sensors, machinery sensors, which is predictive maintenance, predictive the problem before happening. And this is make the efficiency of the machinery still running the same without reduction of the efficiency with more power. Also, another people which I see they came to me, they said we need to put additives to the diesel oil. Yes, it's only keep the efficiency of the machinery is running to not again to increase the power with less efficiency. Mainly, this is item which we need preventive maintenance. Now also the master itself, like to choose example the economical speed to see which is most economic is written there in the curve of the engine, which is most RPM.
Which RPM for the optimum?
Optimum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Specific fuel consumption.
Yeah. This is will be chief engineer with the captain to decide which is speed I need to keep it and to plan the route, which is shorter. Plan the operation itself. Instead of to do 2 times, let me do 1 time in 1 shot. This is all can be done.
Okay. I have a question since Chief Mr. Sameh and yourself mentioned speed. Would it compromise collision regulations, this safe speed, rule number 6, if we didn't properly educate our junior officers who's doing navigational watches on, we need to give them the proper education in order not to maintain a specific speed in case of collision avoidance.
This is for sure.
No way.
This is for sure.
Okay.
No way. The safety is first for the vessel and
exactly,
the people.
Exactly.
Yeah. There is a speed. This is something. But we said idle. I'm going to supply from here to Zakum, example, whatever.
Okay.
And the good speed, good weather, and everything fine with me. Why not? I will use my speed.
And Mr. Cesar, I'm going every day to Musaffah, seeing so many vessels standing by alongside berth and stuff. Is it possible to provide those berth terminals with a shore power, for example, in order for the vessel to shift their electricity into that shore-based and reduce using generators and stuff?
It is, yes, not only possible, it is happening, and a lot of the ports are facing these updates that they need to do to be relevant in this world of decarbonization, energy efficiency. Now let's bear in mind something. We can reduce the consumption of the vessel by being in port connected to a power, but also we need to realize what's generating that power. If that power is also being generated by fossil fuels, instead of being burned at the vessel, is now going to be burned somewhere else. So there has to be a balance on that end. So in my experience in working with the so-called energy transition, I took the liberty to change it into, when I go and speak, on saying we are in an energy explosion. It is not moving one for another. It is the combination, the right balance in between all the energies, so it makes sense for not only the environment, but also that is useful for our people. So I just, as yesterday I shared on my presentation, I just been to Finland. They're working with the ferries, and it's impressive how much have they advanced with the ports. When the ferry is coming, and we have captains here that know what I want to speak about. I'm not a captain, but it's impressive how they operate those huge vessels, 250 meters. instead of having the traditional lines, it's a vacuum. So when they approach, it's vacuum and sucking, and reduces the time that they spend there. Also, they get immediate access to power, so they stop the LNG engines, and they just continue with that operation. It is just impressive because they need a quick turnaround. Already, all the vehicles are being leaving the vessel, and the people that were transported. How can that be done with the offshore supply vessels? Collaboration. That's the only way that I can see it. AI, yes, is here to help us, but wrong data, wrong output. So it needs to be accurate, positive data, so AI can do the work with real thing. And what I'm trying to say with this, and I'm a huge defender of another term, is HI, human intelligence. And it's just being presented in that way. We need to trust our people, listen to our people, listen to their experience, give them the additional tools so they can visualize what is a best way that maybe in the past it worked, but on today there's always a way to improve. So we need to work on adoption rather than imposition. But sometimes we need to start with imposition in order to have adoption, and that you know very well by working with QHSSE.
Sure. Thank you.
Also, you know, it's cold ironing. We said cold ironing. Sometimes we use I think some of our companies here at NOC Offshore, at NOC LNS, I think, they started already to use it with the vessel for maintenance. They can connect to the shore, and they use the cold ironing, which is also reduce a lot of less actually decarbonization.
Exactly.
Also, there is in the offshore support vessels nowadays there is a small generator. It's called the harbor generator. It's used for the stay purpose, and it's very low consumption of oil and also low emissions.
This is education.
Yeah, it's helped to reduce the emissions and decarbonize.
Yes.
It's always used at harbor for the small load, because during port stay, no more load, only lighting and cooking or something.
Exactly. Yes.
So I'll just try to expand more on this coal lining thing. For coal lining, we require lots of collaborations with lots of port people, the port side, I mean, generally, and it's not very easy to start giving electricity, which is not planned much before. So a lot of countries, especially in Europe, they've also started going in a different fashion. As Cesar has said about, we have to be very ethical about where the electricity is coming from if we really wanted to decarbonize and be sustainable in that fashion. So what they've actually gone across, they've tried to make it more mobile. So you have big, huge power packs rather than having electricity coming from shore side. They have a huge power pack which can be actually connected to your ship and start giving it's more like a generator on the shore side, which is again chargeable units like your mobile charger for that matter. So this is how the whole thing is developing eventually. Yes.
Thank you. Going back to Captain Waddah, so what are the major barriers to replacing conventional marine fuels with cleaner alternatives such as LNG, biofuels, or ammonia in offshore operations?
Yes. Now, the vessel itself, is designed for diesel oil. And all actually still we have, if you do the retrofit for the machinery, will cost you money and time, especially if you have a fleet. For that, for short term will be costly, but for long term, you need to build the new vessels with the new engines, which is using LNG or whatever, or bio. Now, example, we have one vessel, she working in biodiesel and normal diesel.
Okay.
But now we're running in a normal diesel because biodiesel still not exist here. It's difficult. The supply chain, we said. The supply chain is very important for all this type of a new, let's be said, a new fuel will be LNG, biofuel, you have ammonia, hydrogen. All
nuclear.
This is a new nuclear. All this is a new.
Methanol also. There is methanol power.
Methanol is part of biofuel, I think, which is it's no supply. If you want, even you build your vessel there is still no supply facility, especially in offshore, because
Yes.
sometimes I need to put the vessel, I will not send her back for refueling. This is offshore business. It's running 24 hours. I will send the supply boat, but there is no. Also, the problem is the prices. The biofuel price, it's high.
Hi.
ROI for any company will be question mark.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit about the design.
Design.
Like having tanks to be
The
like,
LNG.
Exactly,
This is
is
exactly.
extremely expensive. For
LNG you
example,
need-
like to fit it on an OSV, I believe. Also, the availability, as you mentioned, like for suppliers who would supply. Also, there is safety concerns about like ammonia, I believe, like with
That's
regards
correct.
to safety.
Explosive.
LNG
toxic,
example,
yeah.
LNG, they need a huge, big tank with minus 162
Yeah, and
Celsius.
also they need compressor
Temperature
to keep
as well.
Yeah,
162 Celsius minus.
freezing.
Yeah,
There is no such, it's very difficult for small vessels
exactly,
offshore.
Exactly,
you know.
exactly.
For that example, biofuel. The biofuel problem is costly and also degrading by time because he's doing from the vegetable or used
Exactly.
oil or whatever. And degrading the efficiency is a big problem for biofuel. Example, the storage area, the storage life for biofuel from weeks to 6 months maximum. They do additives to make it to 2 years, but the quality of the biofuel is degrading.
Degrading.
For that, it's still inexpensive. And also refinery. What the standard of that refinery, who is doing that, who is issuing that? Example, I need 100 ton. It's difficult to have 100 ton biofuel in one shot.
Exactly.
This is some, how I said, the barriers is really is too much. And even the safety, as you said. LNG, high
Temperature,
flammables,
like,
temperature.
yeah.
If you go to, example, ammonia toxic and corrosive. Toxic, real toxic.
Exactly.
This is concern. It's killing people. It's difficult to use it. Hydrogen is still new. There is no standard engines. There is no supply. All this, first of all, I think we need to have the base, supply base, standardization for all this type of a fuel, the standard itself, how much will be content, how much should be there standardized by internationally and locally, and then we can say we'll pass to that area. This is the way how now I can see it's really difficult, still a lot of barrier areas.
True. Engineer Mr. Sameh, how can offshore vessels implement hybrid propulsion systems, and what are the long-term cost and emission benefits of such technologies?
Now, the already recent technologies is going to the batteries, electrical battery, to be a propulsion for the OSVs. And also there is another solution, as we discussed, we are looking for the clean energy, like low carbon fuel. How we reduce the carbon emissions by looking for the low carbon fuel. As we said, there is some solution like methanol, we call it green methanol, and LNG, and the hydrogen, and the ammonia. This solution only to find the low carbon fuel to operate the marine engines. And this is the next step in the industry. I seen the owners, vessel owners and operators and users, all are looking for to reduce the carbon emissions. There is also strategy for IMO and the plan to reduce the carbon emission by 2030. And we have to moving forward more to find solution to reduce the carbon.
Since you mentioned this hybrid propulsion systems,
Yes.
New build, I can understand, owner can still purchase this kind with, but for the existing fleet, what is the solution in order to turn it from the normal propulsion into this hybrid propulsion systems?
It's already there.
Especially with batteries that might take a huge space.
No, there is lithium-ion batteries.
Okay.
It's already launched
Okay.
and used, but there is some risk because of the lithium batteries. It's explode with the heat. So it's need a good space with a good ventilation and good design for the engine or machinery space and good looping system for the air. This is some risk coming when the temperature goes more than 40.
Can I share something? Sorry.
Yes, please.
Is that okay? Because, Captain, you were also mentioning the different fuels, and there's no definition yet. And I happen to have the opportunity as well to go to Sasila, and they're working on multi-fuel engines because there's no definitive answer yet.
No.
They're aiming for hydrogen, but at the moment it's just multi-fuel. Now, the challenge is how you retrofit the large number of vessels that are around the world. The shipyards are getting busier. Finally, we're building more vessels. But what I learned from the shipbuilders is that the design is still contemplating marine diesel and then any other alternative, like methane or probably in the large vessels, LNG, but at the smaller vessels. So it's still a combination of fuels, and we don't have a definitive answer. Now, in my particular opinion and experience now that I have this opportunity to travel around the world and see, it's also very localized. You were talking about infrastructure. If you have the infrastructure for your vessel to operate with LNG, it'll be only natural that you can provide for that. If you have the infrastructure for but not all of the time you're going to have that infrastructure. So let's make it efficient what we do have. And if 95% of the offshore supply vessels are still operating with marine fuel, let's find a way to optimize the consumption, less emissions, and more efficiency. And let's use the tools. And I would be not biased if I don't mention about Fueltrax, but anyway, I'm not going to do that. I'm just sharing what I think it is part of that.
This is my experience also once happened now with me. One company, they came and they said, okay, we have the new device, will generate from water the hydrogen and injecting to the vessel, to the engine, which is helping for efficiency and saving. I said, fine, no issue with me at all. But the problem, I need approval from the manufacturer of the engine. Otherwise, if it's broke, it's a big problem. Or the class itself to tell me this is safe to use. None of the company, still, none of the manufacturing people or whatever, I don't want to mention the engines, they said, no, don't. We are not responsible for anything happen. Then, again, you're stuck with the rules, regulations, standard, stopping you from using a new technology, a new innovation. Because maybe we're going too fast in innovation, the rules still is not coming.
Exactly.
So
similar to maybe the cars industry, like you have very luxury car and you are taking it like to fuel station, for example, and he's asking you to buy this
additives.
Additives like to put into injected into your fuel tank, and you have no idea what is like. How it will be reflected on that. Exactly. Yeah.
So I think let's accept the fact that the world has no idea where to go about. We are still in the pilot phase. You know, we are all testing out ammonia, we're testing out hydrogen, we're testing out. You know, LNG is already proven.
Already launched.
So it's a very important thing that we have to have a supply chain. I mean, to have one type of fuel. At the moment, everybody's trying. Wärtsilä is trying now with the hydrogen engine for the first time. So till we have enough data to see which engine is going to be more useful or which fuel is going to be more useful, Singapore has come with lots of regulations and biodiesel for that matter. You know, I mean, you have the fatty acid methyl esters, you know, FAM. I mean, the quality we're talking about there, the specific requirements which Singapore has got now, and they use in blending. So again, 2080, 40, 60, and they're trying to see how far they can go around. And they have got very strict regulations when it comes to biodiesels also. So from a regulatory point of view, they've actually come across and gone one step ahead and they say, okay, you can use biodiesel in this kind of thing. And we are Asset MPA, we will take the authority to cross-check the suppliers are going to give you that kind of blending and all. So again, it's in testing mode. We will not get an answer, let's be very frank, in the near future, maybe a couple of years, till we have enough data to see whether it is going to work or not. And the engine makers are not going to be responsible and accountable at the moment because they are testing.
Yes.
In terms of retrofit, I mean, we're trying to have different solutions. And now we're talking battery packs. So there are shipyards which is actually giving solutions of having the existing vessels space to be cut out to create this kind of lithium ion or a battery pack over there. So there are a lot of solutions just coming across, but at the moment everybody's doing a trial and testing mode. There are no solutions at the moment right now. We do have a target 2030, but how to go over there, we have absolutely got no idea. You know? So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Captain Varun. Now, what role can carbon capture, utilization, and storage play in offshore operations, and how feasible is its integration into current infrastructure? Just mind me, like, I believe that this carbon capture, utilization, and storage is still under like the experimental stage.
No, sir,
it is not. It comes into like reality?
So,
is there a showcases?
So I'll tell you very honestly, whenever you drill for oil, you will have this gases which is coming across. And this is the carbon capture, utilization, and storage has been going on with Shell, Mobil, and companies who have been exploring oil from decades. Okay. It's not a new concept. But what is happening now is because of decarbonization goals, it is more coming into the focus at the moment right now. So in terms of CCUS, which we normally call for the carbon capture in terms of that, there are lots of, again, experimental happening around how to have the supply chain managed and where the storage. Because, you know, it's one thing is to be able to capture the carbon, which we can do from the engine side and scrubbers and everything. But exactly the problem is where to put them and store them in terms that it is going to be not harmful for the environment or for...
okay, storage,
Yes.
I can understand, maybe, but for the utilization,
Yes.
I'm talking about, is there a showcases where this, like, captured carbon got utilized?
Yes. So if you actually see...
and for example, exploration, increasing the productivity.
It doesn't happen with the productivity. I mean, it doesn't happen. What we're trying to see is how we can use this carbon. Now, for example, lead. I mean, it's a normal example. I'll tell you when you have used your pencil. It's a lead, which is again compressed carbon. So what there are companies which is actually creating this carbon captured carbons and finding out products which they can use it. For normal users, which is not going to harm, the moment you compact it, and it's not going to be released in the air or in the atmosphere, it's again going to be much more environmental friendly. But the utilization is still going on. But storage, I mean, there are wells on the earth from decades back where they're trying to put the carbon inside the earth. But all thing again, the regulatory aspect, because exactly where do you dig it? And then who's going to be responsible for how many years this carbon is going to be remain there? It won't turn to fossil fuel, very, very suddenly for sure. But then again, that is again a question about the regulatory aspect. Which seabed, under whom does it come onto? Is it okay if I remove the carbon from this country and I go outside and throw the carbon in some other continent? You see? So that is a different aspect altogether. But again, as I was telling you, it's an initiative in terms of OSVs and commercial vessels. It is still in the pilot phases. If you actually read the reports from GCMD, it's a global center for maritime decarbonization in Singapore, which is again working with GMF back in Sweden. So they did the studies, and they've produced lots of papers about that. DNV, LR, they have produced a lot of reports about that. We have got a huge institute over here called CCUS Institute over there. Again, finding out solutions how to utilize this carbon, because carbon is going to come rather than allowing it to go to the atmosphere, how you utilize it and store it.
Noted. Thank you. Again, Captain Varun, how is the offshore sector balancing the technical and financial challenges of decarbonization with increasing pressure from ESG regulations and climate goals?
So in terms of finances, again, we are all looking at an ROI, and everybody's coming up with solutions and looking at how is it going to benefit in terms of ESG. We all have ESG goals from the IMO, and it depends upon which element are you trying to satisfy. So we are trying to see which options are going to be more financial benefit for me. And again, lots of solutions are there in the market, but what is going to be more optimum, we still have no idea. So people run a simulation. If you use, for example, what Captain Waddah was telling you about, if I retrofit this engine by using methanol, in how many years will I be able to break even? So when am I going to get my return of investment for that particular system over there? It is still in the pilot phase. So if you go to the makers now and you say, okay, I want to change my present diesel engine into an ammonia engine, if I'm going to spend that much of cost, eventually when I'm going to break even, when I'm going to make profit, and they'll run a simulation at the moment right now. But again, it's all simulations because we have absolutely got no idea what kind of breakdown maintenance it's going to have, how many we'll be able to sustain that itself. But then, so before, as an owner or as a stakeholder, which is we are trying to input our money into a solution, we will definitely run a simulation and then find out whether it's going to be financial viable or not. But with ESG requirements and the goals set up by the UAE, by the IMO 2013, a lot of initiatives over there, everybody is pressurized to sort of come up with some solutions over there. But what solutions, we still have absolutely got no idea. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Cesar, what technologies or strategies are proving most effective in optimizing fuel consumption through dynamic route planning and speed optimization?
Well, putting first, before talking about the technologies, everything starts with planning. And we all know that when we plan, then we succeed. But normally, human nature is to just jump into action before thinking and planning, normally. These beautiful skyscrapers that are here, they were planned ahead with long time, properly designed, and then scheduled to be built in an efficient manner and in a safe manner. So logistically, we need to start with that. But talking about technologies, fuel management is really, really important in that sense. But it cannot be just by guessing. It cannot be by a calculation based on air. It needs to be precision measuring, precision sensoring on both quantity, quality. Then efficiency on the consumption for the engines, caring about the engines, reducing engine wear, which also reduces lubricant consumption, also reduces the filters, besides reducing the fuel consumption on the vessels. We have to face our reality. We're still using diesel oil, and it's going to be continuing use for a long time. So might as well find that efficient way to find that fine, delicate balance in between having the technology available, having the human intelligence available, combine that with the tools that we have with AI, and come with something that is positive and enhancing the fuel consumption across the globe. It starts as well, and let me come again with the topic of collaboration. Working before with a vessel owner, the ideal thing for a vessel owner is to get an increase on your day rate as much as you can. But that is not something always feasible. So we're forgetting something which is called negative cost. Not all the time you need to be making more money directly on payment. Sometimes it has to be a balance and sharing the benefits across. So instead of having a contract for 10 years, maybe it's a contract for 20 years, which allows you to do your investment and spread it across the time. Yes. What about if I'm reducing the fuel consumption for whom, if I'm a vessel owner and there's a benefit from who's providing me with the fuel, why don't we share that benefit together so we can incentivize and keep the ball rolling? Why don't we incentivize our personnel? So if that particular crew is using all the optimization tools that we are providing, and I know that for a fact because of our system of Fueltrax, but regardless of the system and regardless what it is there, if they're really using it, they're maximizing, they should be incentivized, the crew. They should be incentivized to recognize their contribution. Again, is a topic of collaboration in my view.
There is also new modification for the fuel injection valve in some engines. The modification, they reduce the size of the nozzle to inject with the more pressure, to inject the fuel with the more pressure inside the combustion chamber. This, it will reduce the fuel oil consumption and it will increase the efficiency of the firing by inject the fuel as a fog. It will be a fast ignition, and it will reduce the fuel oil consumption, and also it will reduce the emissions. So this new modification for the fuel valve, it's helpful the environment to reduce the fuel oil consumption and the emission also.
Now, let me talk like this now. The decarbonization, yes? Now in Europe, if you go there, you will pay money for your carbons.
Yeah, carbon credits.
How much you will spend.
Yeah.
Here still this area in still Far East or whatever, still there's no forces, no rules. This will make a little bit difficult, for me, from my point of view, if we need to follow it, you need to put rules. Then everybody will change. It's by law or by money. Then the ROI, when I am return of investment, will be now differently when I know I will pay for this CO2. No, better to expend some money on the engine to reduce my cost. In Europe, they've done it. But still here, I think later it's coming here.
It's going to come. Later. I think so. Everybody will follow suit in terms of international requirements. If Europe has followed that and they've come up with the carbon credits and MRVs, every other countries are going to be pressurized to do the same thing eventually. So at the moment, right now, yes, there are no requirements per se from Asian continent or other places and all. But I think so. It is eventually going to come. When, we have no idea, but that is definitely going to come sometime or the other. Yeah. Okay, so Engineer Sameh, you've mentioned some modification to the engine in order to reduce the fuel consumption.
Yes, correct.
Like each engine comes from the manufacturer, which it's like technical, NOx technical file. And it have like, based on each RPM, how much emission this kind of engine should be doing. So to do such modification, it will again might for vessel owners affect the warranty. If it is like brand new engines, it might affect the approvals.
The modification it's for the new engines already.
New.
And this is matched with the engine. For the fuel, for the power, for the consumption, for everything. It's matched with the engine.
Not for No, but even in real time. I mean, in nowadays, even for the engines, if example, if you want to modify, you can still modify with them. I mean, whether it's lubrications or anything with alpha level, things and all. And one more thing that normally we'll talk about. I mean, we have the digital twin systems. So any kind of modification which is required from the point of view of engines or optimizations or fuel consumptions or all these things can be actually moved around digital twin ecosystems. I mean, I was speaking to Mr. Asif in the morning itself, and so before you try to apply it on board, you're already applying it on a digital twin system, which is exactly having the whole fuel systems, the void systems, the cargo systems, and all, and seeing the quality of the changes, and is it going to produce better results before you actually applying it on board. So there are many solutions which is basically coming across.
Also, there is some modification for the engine itself. Yeah. For the engine to reduce the emission from the carbon dioxide and the sulfur dioxide.
Yeah, SOx
They install some system, it's exhaust recovery system.
Yeah.
This system makes some injection of water to reduce the emission of the nitrogen. So when you inject, for example, 10 liters of water, reduce 10% of the NOx, nitrogen oxide.
So again, warranty did not get affected because this is again by the manufacturers themselves. This is a solution which is coming from them, how to reduce the owner's money in terms of carbon capture or trying to come to the regulations. So if it was a third-party retrofit, then the warranty will come into place over there. But this is again in collaboration with the engine makers itself. Because the ship owner will never take a chance of retrofitting, which has not been covered with the warranty by the ship engine makers, for sure.
And also, I must mention that it's using the mass vessels, autonomous vessels now. In our experience now, what we done in our company, example, our vessel, we done the geophysical ROVs with the small autonomous vessel, which is replacing a huge vessel, 60 meter. We are reducing to 12 meter. The engine consumption from 100%, we're reducing to 90%. This meaning we are 90% less in same operation. I think the future also for the autonomous boats, because you are smaller, no need a crew, no food, nothing, no environment impact, which is CO2. It's really very easy, because also to use the biofuel for small engines is different from big engines. For that, in our company now, we are seeing we will pass all the geophysical and ROV vessels, which is using DP2 vessels, for a small vessel. It's a huge step ahead. Also, the future will be for the autonomous vessels and underwater autonomous vehicles. Also, everything will go now for autonomous, I think, and this will make a lot of reducing the CO2, because engines is smaller, no need all this huge a vessel with cooking items, with everything. This is all reduced. You have a small vessel, you do the same job, perfect job, without cost.
Sure.
So no people, the risk of HSE is also taken care of. So you will be happy. Your KPIs will be met.
Excellent.
I'm sorry, and gentlemen, one thing. You were mentioning speed, and I think that I just want to touch briefly on that one. And we have captains
Sorry,
here.
Mr. Cesar,
yes.
Speed and course.
Yes.
Which,
so I can tell you for a fact that when you have a fuel management system, and I need to speak with Fueltrax because the one that I know and the one that I'm representing, but when you have real data, when you have information about your engines, temperature, density, and you have the flow rate, and then you have your engine, existing engine, with the characteristics that are already on the engine, and then you provide that information, analyze real live data in a screen for the captain as he's operating, not only we rely on his capability, which we acknowledge, but when you have information like geoposition, when you have information like weather, current, then you realize that if you have an ETA, the simplest thing in the old days would be to go full blast with all the engines and just think that you're going really fast. When in reality, most likely you're just burning fuel, you're not going to go any faster. When you have a tool that is telling you, if you operate engine number 2 and engine number 4 at 1800 RPMs, then you're saving your other 2 engines, and you're still going to accomplish the same speed, and then you're talking about, we call it best speed. Other occasions is the opposite. You don't have an ETA, then you can use the best economy option. How many engines really have to be running in order to do that? So you have speed, and you have the cost. And it's already the tool there. It is not something that you have to make any additional investment, but just incorporate the system.
Sorry, in regards of this conference, which is more into OSVs,
yeah.
Which also I recently joined this industry, coming from different marine but different industry. Is it practical, those new technologies to the offshore sector? For example, an offshore vessel, how many routings she will use from A to B? It's very limited. So you can, what's the benefit of give route advice or speed advice? What speed it will be doing maximum for such vessels? I can understand for ocean going vessels, where weather routing is there, passage planning is there, speed can be controlled and stuff. But for the offshore, is that practical? Those technologies, are they practical for this industry?
Yes. Yeah. What we have experienced is that the more, again, it's a passive system. It's not going to act for you.
It will.
You need to engage.
It will. It will.
It will.
It will. Eventually, the real-time solutions will incorporate and manipulate the engines by itself. I mean, if you actually read the company called Windward, they are working by 2036. They will try to use the information from all these things and they will manipulate without the interventions of the ship staff itself.
Exactly. But at the moment, we're still doing it it's a passive way unless you act on it.
Yeah.
So it is just a matter to be pending. Anyway, the captain is always pending on the conditions what is going on his vessel. So of course he's going to realize that depending on the underway, if it is positioning, if it is 500 meters from the drilling rig, if it is whatever the movement is, there's always a possibility to do any sort of optimization. And the more that you do it, the more that we have seen the savings. Just a quick example. We were working with a vessel owner, one of the largest in the region, and they were moving a vessel from Singapore to here. And we recommended on their way to be on an active management, meaning adjusting the speed on the underway. They were already saving 12% by using the optimization, but by using the optimization tools 70% of the time, not even 100% of the time, 70%, they moved from 12% to 19% savings on fuel. On a route of 6,000 nautical miles, you can imagine the amount of fuel that was saved and the emissions that were not emitted.
See now, it's pressure on captain also. Sometimes we work in offshore, I work offshore. I wasn't working in supply boats. I'm getting vital cargo. Now, the sea state is 10 feet. I said, if we go, I will arrive within, even for 60 miles, I need maybe 1 day because it will be high speed. I cannot make speed. Never mind, go and do it, Captain. This is the issue with education again for the company itself who's dealing, the planning, because fail to plan, plan to fail. This is what's happening now. Sometimes the captain he doing his best to deliver his service related to his company. But sometimes it's coming, we know with some people, they forcing, which is no need. No need to, it's vital now to go. And how many times we sail, vital, my colleagues, they know, we are right there after banging all my, broken a lot of things, my ship. And the rig said me, Captain, stand by.
True.
Okay, sorry, it was very interesting,
Yes.
but as you see, like time fly, I would like to end with the engineer Sameh. What role does crew training and operational behavior play in reducing emissions, and how can organizations implement a culture of sustainability on board?
There is always onboard training for the crew. As Captain Waddah mentioned, they have to reduce the power. For example, they have switch off the light in the public places when they are nobody used, like recreation room, galley, mess room. They have to switch off the power and light and keep always TV off if nobody seen TV. This will help to reduce the load on the generator, and also it will help to reduce the emissions with the reducing the exhaust gas. And also there is a course, his name is Environmental Officer course. This should be, one of the senior officer should be attend this course and have this course, and he will train the crew how to save the environment, not only for the emission, for the chemicals, for the, don't throw any garbage on board, for the garbage management, for the power efficiency, saving and all this.
Sorry, Captain Varun, for the same, since you are coming from Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy, when we will see that STCW is enrolled in training programs related to such environmental,
so when it comes to environmental training, so we have the SIM plan, which has been from a very long time, which is basically ship energy efficiency management plan, which is everybody has is required to do, and they come back with the onboard people, management people that will decide, okay, this is my consumption, how should I do? I put off my generators, we use 1 ballast pump instead of 2 ballast pumps. So a lot of things are basically already in place. However, it again depends upon the company to company. It does not come in force from the point of view of the IMO SCCW requirement. Because you see, as a seafarer, nobody wants to do one course extra. And when you make it mandatory, it becomes a much more problem for you because it's money from your pocket.
Exactly.
So when IMO says that you are required to do a SCCW course, which is mandatory, you have to go through a lot of feasibility studies to do that. So again, IMO cannot sort of, make different countries enemies or seafarers enemy. I mean, for IMO, it's very easy for you. Okay, 25 courses mandatory, right? For them, it's just a number of courses, but then they have to see the impact. What is going to happen for the turnaround of people, the owners, the charterers, the ship has to keep moving, whether the institutes have the facilities, the countries have the facilities, So a lot of things which are basically taken care behind the scene. But in generally, it is again up to the companies per se where they have. Behavior-based safety training has been done a very, very long time. I mean, it's been decades I have been doing from last 16 years, which again talk about behavior, So not only from safety perspective, but even from sustainability perspective, so a lot of things can be changed by changing your behavior, and that is what some companies are taking. But again, with talk about SCCW, it's a very basic mandatory requirements which IMO can say. I can always go over and above as a company, as somebody who really values and I want to invest something on my crew. But IMO will try to be on the step behind and give you only the minimum per se.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. It was very interesting. Is it?
Same here.
Yeah.
Great.
Can we have a gathering picture all together?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.